said $700 a week for a one-room motel. That's actually a homeless shelter.
I'm actually like not. I have no problem saying this. We pay $700 a week for this motel.
And then, with a straight face, she said she chose it. Besties, I wish I was making that up. Stephanie Jenkins hit the live button, and what followed was not just a meltdown. It was a full-on expose, unintentionally directed by herself. We had contradictions, a bit of rage, court order violations, more baby mama drama than a soap opera, and a dash of toilet paper commentary. And that was just the first half. If you thought you'd seen it all from Stephanie, think again. This wasn't just chaotic. This was a self-sabotage masterclass. Buckle up. Stephanie Jenkins is a TikTok mom influencer known for her controversial takes and chaotic lives. She lives in a one-room motel with her boyfriend Drew and their kids. That motel? It's allegedly a homeless shelter, not a regular paid motel. Stephanie went live, supposedly to clear her name and set the record straight. Instead, she made shocking claims, contradicted her own receipts, and doubled down on some wild opinions. She defended Drew, dismissed cheating allegations, shaded Desiree, clashed with Arlita, and potentially broke court rules. The live spiraled quickly, and viewers are calling it her worst ever. Here's the problem we're unpacking. Stephanie tried to look strong and unbothered, but only proved how messy things really are. Let's rewind and walk through what happened. Stephanie kicked off the live with a bang, claiming that they pay $700 every single week to stay in a motel room. That is $2,800 a month.
In my opinion, the more CPS shows up at her door, the more unhinged she becomes. Because she knows they don't see anything wrong with what she's doing, so she's doubling down on it. He has made it clear that she gardens and she's not hiding anything. Said in the live that Drew does gig work to support their habit. He's claiming she's paying $700 a week to live in that one-bedroom motel room. That is $2,800 a month, totaling $20,000 to live in a motel room for the last 7 months. In the live, she's claiming there's no update, they're just saving money and paying rent, and that they just don't have the credit to be anywhere else, which is a bold-faced lie. My husband is a realtor. I was a realtor for years. I've seen people who make a quarter of what she makes per month with a 450 credit score purchase a house in 6 months. Stephanie is just not mentally an adult and is not capable of making adult decisions. There are single moms on this app who dream for the platform and to make the money that Stephanie Jenkins makes on this app. And she's just throwing it away on rugs in a dirty motel room. The cherry on top, how she's saying Arlita and Desiree are the nasty one. That's Drew's first and second baby mamas. Of course, defending her King Daddy Drew, saying just because he's not a good father to Arlita's son and he doesn't see him at all doesn't mean he's not a good father to other kids. Mind you, there is another live clip of Drew saying that he would basically give up his kids if he wasn't with Stephanie to begin with. The amazing father that Stephanie is defending. At what point is Stephanie going to admit that they do not know how to manage any money and that they need help? I think if her kids have to be forced to go without a room in a home, then she should be forced to go without any green, and dispensaries should just stop selling to her altogether.
Meanwhile, this is the same family that couldn't afford $1,100 rent a few months ago. TikTok sleuths weren't buying it. Turns out, this place is reportedly a homeless shelter that used to be a motel, meaning they likely live there through a voucher program and aren't paying out of pocket. And if they are somehow paying that amount, that opens another question. Why? Why spend $2,800 on a one-room setup with no privacy or space when you could easily rent a whole apartment or house with that kind of money? Even in expensive states, that's more than enough for a 2-bedroom at minimum. To make it worse, Drew previously let it slip on live that they were placed there with a voucher. Stephanie either forgot that or decided we forgot. Spoiler alert. We didn't. When someone in the chat, probably just trying to be helpful, suggested they try getting a trailer instead of paying $700 a week for a motel, Stephanie gave us a response no one saw coming. She said she thought about it, but ultimately decided against it because, wait for it, she didn't want to deal with flashing toilets and cleaning. Like, that was her big reason, that a trailer would be too much work. Bestie, are you serious right now?
Why not a trailer? A trailer, I have thought about this, and this is my answer for that. Because we have to clean the shit out of that thing. We got a toilet we can flush. I know, in all honesty, there's just a lot of like we'd have to do like weekly things with the trailer that I feel like would just add a load to our week that we don't need. It would add a little more stress to the kids. There's just the convenience of like having running water, having a toilet that flushes, and you know, when we need to, we can take advantage of the like crappy but free toilet paper and things that come with like us paying for the motel every week. Sometimes we do, but the toilet paper's really crappy quality, so.
And then she doubled down. She said she liked the motel better because it came with free toilet paper. Not a backyard, not privacy, not square footage. Toilet paper. So let's break this down in plain English. She'd rather spend nearly $3,000 a month packaged in a one-room box with multiple kids than get a trailer that would give her actual space, actual freedom, and actual control over her life. Because of toilet paper. You cannot make this up. The wildest part is most trailers these days have regular plumbing. They are not these busted, off-the-grid shacks. They come with toilets, with running water. Some even have more storage and better kitchens than apartments. But Stephanie made it sound like a trailer was a hole in the ground and a bucket. And that's when the alarm bells started ringing for me. This wasn't just about comfort or convenience. It was about keeping the struggle going. Because if you move into a trailer, suddenly you don't look like you're barely scraping by. Suddenly, your struggle story loses a little shine. And if that story is part of the brand, then the trailer doesn't fit the aesthetic. So yeah, at this point, it wasn't giving explanation. It was giving full-on deflection. She doesn't want a trailer because it would mean doing better, and that would mess up the whole act. Someone in the chat asked when she planned to rebuild her credit. And y'all, the way she shot back, full sarcasm mode. Right now, I am doing it this very second. Like she was offended anyone would even dare bring it up. Then she followed that with, do you even know how credit works? Girl, be serious. Because actually, most of us do know how credit works. And spoiler alert, it usually starts with having a job. Like a real job. One that involves clocking in, clocking out, and building financial history. Not live streaming runs while avoiding every ounce of stability. Credit doesn't magically repair itself just because you speak it into existence on live. And then she rolled straight into another mini meltdown. This time, about her kids allegedly being late to school. She was furious that people were spreading what she called lies. She said her kids are always on time, that she always makes sure of it, and even threw in Drew's name like, he gets them there too.
How the hell would you know the kids are late to school? Who would be spreading that information? You feel me? They're never, not when I bring them, they ain't late. Maybe when Drew does, because they be saying that shit too. Daddy takes the long route. You always get us there on time.
But the real kicker? This rumor came from her own mouth. She told people on her private sub-only account that when she takes the kids, they are on time. But when Drew takes them, not so much. So how are you this mad about a rumor that you started? She cooked herself and didn't even realize it. She wanted to clap back. She ended up clapping herself. One viewer asked the $1,000,000 question. Did Drew cheat on her? And just like
what has come into him. That's how I feel about people who cheat on someone. Like, as much as we've gone through together, if that really was the case, I wish the worst on you. I'm sorry, I do.
Stephanie's whole vibe shifted. You could see it in her face. She started to answer, then got flustered real quick, like that question caught her off guard even though we all knew it was coming. She paused mid-sentence, clearly trying to find her words, then did a full 180 and basically cast the viewer out by wishing them the worst. Yeah, not suspicious at all. It was one of those moments where you're like, girl, blink twice if you're not okay. Because if you had nothing to hide, why get so pressed? Why not just say, that's not true and move on? But nope, she fumbled, she deflected, and then she lashed out. And considering the way she used to hype Drew up, like he was the last man on earth, it was giving panic. It was giving damage control. And let's be real, that silence wasn't strong. It wasn't mature. It was suspicious. That whole awkward dodge read less like, I don't owe anyone an answer, and more like, I have no idea how to lie my way out of this one. Because if the story was false, this was the perfect time to shut it down. Instead, she gave us a whole buffet of nervous energy and rage. So yeah, it didn't land the way she thought it would. It wasn't protecting her peace. It was exposing her truth. Someone asked why she covers baby Minova's face but shows the other kids. Stephanie said it's because people kept making comments about her daughter's crossed eyes and she got tired of the speculation.
Why am I covering? Oh, because I was tired of people talking about her cross eye. Like, yo, rude as crap. Making up stuff about a child's condition when you literally don't know what you're talking about and then you just assume it's messed up so you don't get access.
Totally fair to want to protect your child. But people then started asking, did she ever get Minova checked out? Did she go to the doctor like she promised months ago? Is she getting care? We don't know. And Stephanie didn't answer. The concern now is less about privacy and more about whether Stephanie is avoiding addressing the real medical need. It didn't help that she previously ignored comments until people got too loud enough that she had no choice but to respond. Stephanie then casually mentioned their food stamps got reduced. But the fact that they still qualify at all, that had a lot of viewers doing a double take.
I got the paperwork, y'all, to do it again. We only got, I don't mind answering questions like this. Like, we had our food stamps reduced. We still have some of it, but a literal fraction of it.
You're making influencer money. You have a large platform. And yet, you and Drew both refuse full-time work but still qualify for government assistance? Instead of gratitude, she complained. It came across as tone deaf. And now, we reach the peak of the drama. This is where the story completely flipped on its head. Stephanie violated a court order by publicly speaking on Desiree and Deshaun during the live. She started by saying she never stopped Desiree from seeing Deshaun, never shut the door, and barely knew her before she went viral. But then, same breath, yo. She said Desiree came to their place once and asked for money.
I had no part in Deshaun's mom not having a relationship with him until I went viral. I had no part in that. I never shut the door on her. I never said she couldn't call. I didn't even know who the frick she was until after that. She came over one time in the extent of the time that me and Drew were together. Mind you, she asked for money. The fuck?
So which is it? You can't have never met someone and also say they visited your house. The contradictions were wild. Then there is the past receipts. In a previous live, Stephanie was heard telling Drew not to give Deshaun back to Desiree. And in court, Drew admitted Stephanie was the one who blocked Desiree after she called the police once. So yeah, there is documentation. She tried to play the I am just the stepmom card, but let's unpack that. She's not married to Drew. She's still legally tied to a different man who is, according to reports, in jail for serious charges. So even the stepmom title is questionable. When someone said Desiree was prettier than her, Stephanie called it a stretch, but her energy screamed breast.
Prettier? That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
She then pivoted to Desiree's GoFundMe, shading her for asking for money. That would have been a moment, except Stephanie also made a GoFundMe once. She said it was for legal fees and the kids. People didn't support it because they didn't believe she'd actually use it for them. So again, she contradicted herself. And then it got worse.
You know what's so funny is Steph was just live, and she's like so bad at keeping track of her lives because she said that Arlita has been giving her crap since the very, very, very beginning of her and Drew's relationship. You know what's interesting about this is Steph is the one who said that Arlita never even tried to contact them until Steph went viral. You know, trying to claim that Arlita's doing this for clout, blah, blah, blah. Which one is it, Steph?
Let's make sense of this whole circus because what we just watched, it wasn't alive. It was a confession in real time with no lawyers present. Every time she logs on, she claims it's to clear her name, shut down the rumors, get ahead of the narrative. You know the drill. But what actually happens? Chaos. Pure, unfiltered, spiraling chaos. She ends up venting, deflecting, and contradicting herself so fast that by the end, even she probably forgot what her original point was. It was not even storytelling anymore. It's emotional relay with Wi-Fi. And somehow, we're all still watching, popcorn in hand. Stephanie spent a solid chunk of this live dragging Arlita by her edges, then had the audacity to say she didn't care about her. Be for real. You don't talk about someone's parenting, hygiene, lip crust, and entire personality for 15 straight minutes unless they want you. That's not hate. That's obsession disguised as shade. And the wildest part? Stephanie admitted that Arlita messaged her when she first got with Drew. So the whole story about Arlita only popping up when she went viral? Yeah, that's dead. She ended her own narrative arc mid-sentence. Oof, this one hurts because it was so obvious. She kept trying to show the world how solid they are by randomly bringing out deodorant, sharing in the middle of a heated live. Like, what? Ma'am, that's not intimacy. That's a reach. She acted like casually asking him for his deodorant was proof of unbreakable love. Meanwhile, Jill was standing there like a mannequin. He didn't jump in, didn't defend her, didn't say a single word that looked like support. In fact, he changed the subject like he wanted to escape through the screen. So yeah, if the deodorant is your only green flag, it's possibly time to reevaluate the whole relationship. Stephanie might have ended the live early, but make no mistake, she did not log off gracefully. Sis didn't go out with quiet dignity. She rage quit the internet with her tail tucked between her legs. She left that live looking flustered, rattled, defensive, and completely exposed. It was like watching someone slam a laptop shut in the middle of losing an argument they started. Nothing about that exit said confidence. It screamed, I wasn't ready for the backlash. And let's be honest, she might have crossed the legal line too. She probably violated court orders. She disrespected not one, but two other mothers on camera. She pulled up old drama, aired out stuff that was supposed to stay off the internet, and made statements that receipts had already proven wrong. Like, the internet is full of screen recordings, sis. We saw it all. And now, the comment sections are in full riot mode. People aren't just confused anymore. They are angry. Viewers are calling for CPS to step in again. People wanted statements from Desiree. They want Arlita to clap back. They want someone to hold Stephanie accountable because it's becoming clear to a lot of people that she's not putting her kids first. So, in plain English, she wanted to look like the queen of her own castle, but instead, she came off like the drama-loving landlord of a collapsing TikTok motel. She didn't look powerful. She looked petty and worse, scared. My verdict? Stephanie Jenkins hit live thinking she could clear her name. Instead, she cleared every doubt that she's the one keeping this mess alive. Her own words painted the full picture, and it wasn't flattering. She wanted control. What she got was exposure. What do you think? Did she drug Arlita or just drug herself? Was this her biggest self-own yet? Drop your take in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned because the next live might be even messier.